Bro. Dude, so I've hooked up my computer mouse, and my mouse is not registering, which is odd. Okay. So my computer mouse isn't working. Hold on one second. Let me fix this. I guess this mouse is working. We're gonna have to use this one today. I kind of like this one anyway, so that's all right. Hey, what's up, Joshua? All right, so yeah, today we have the Apple event. Disney's still looking pretty good for me. We took some profit in Disney, though. We did lock in some profit. We took a lot of the trade off in the green, which is nice. You see Disney on the right side at 82.50s, went as high as 84s. Nvidia on the left side, just under 450. There's Tesla on the left side too. You can see Apple. Hey, what's up, Camp? All right. So I finally got my trading view charts working. I don't know what was wrong with those, man. Anything else moving? I mean, I know Tesla's up for another day in a row. There's Apple. Apple back up to 180s after dropping a little bit yesterday. Tesla down, but had a pretty green day yesterday as well. Hmm. Yeah, so they're talking about a lot of AI hype at the conference today. So they got some new AI features. Yeah, I remember Top. I don't trust it though, but I remember it. All right, guys. So here's a story. And it says the mom from Little Big League, Ashley Crow, is the actual mom of #1 Cubs prospect Pete Crow Armstrong. Which is weird. If there's not a better argument for the law of attraction, I don't know what is. And I don't necessarily believe the law of attraction, just to put it out there. I don't really believe it, but like every time there's something that could argue it, I just joke about it. But yeah. All right, so Apple's event is today, man. Do y'all expect it to go up? I know a lot of people are probably front loading into it, but all right. So this guy was basically kicked off Airlines flight. So he said, my wife and I bought tickets on Frontier. Olga was able to check in, but my Frontier app was throwing an error, so I couldn't. We arrived at the airport 90 minutes early and went to see my agent. They said Olga was good, but I'm bumped off the flight because too many people checked in before me, and check-ins are first come, first served. So Olga proceeded without me, and she gets to the gate, and her boarding pass doesn't work when scanning it. They said that since other people paid more money than her, she's just being bumped off the flight too. Apparently, in their fine print, they could just bump you off the flight if oversold and offer no refund. Pretty wild, but both of us didn't get refunded. We both ended up on a Southwest airline flight 2 hours later, so not the end of the world, but pretty wild policy. Feels like a scam. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you pay $41 for a ticket. What's up, Alyssa? What's up, Beach? Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it for sure, Richard. ARM IPO, yeah, they said it was going to be on Friday. They said that ARM IPO was supposed to be Friday, but we know we never got that. So, yeah, we'll see if we'll see if it actually IPOs. Sorry, I'm stretching, yawning. I'm awake. It's early in the morning for me. It's 5:30. So we're up. Good morning, y'all. Had a good day yesterday. I think I'll scalp Fubo. Had a 18% drop. Their shares rose when Spectrum said their free trial to use ESPN, but fell when Disney resolved it. Yeah, Disney did bounce back up. And again, we were able to take profit with we were able to take profit yesterday too. So we ended up covering a little bit over like 40 or 50%. I think we covered a couple hundred shares, or we covered about 100 shares yesterday. IPO is always rocking, have the worst bid-ask spread. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I would think we dip somewhat into CPI, maybe. Reliably, Apple does go up at least a little every year this time around. Yeah, I mean, again, September is historically the worst month for markets, right? So September is usually a really bad month. September on average, and this is kind of how you know the market is going to go up most of the time, is that like there's only one, maybe arguably 2 months of the year in which the market on average has a losing month, right? One of them is definitely September, which is the month we're currently in. And so what a lot of people do when they're investing is they wait to buy stuff up around September. So they wait to purchase things around September in terms of stock buys, because that ultimately that enables them to buy a dip, and it kind of shows you like almost every other month on average is green, almost every other month. Sometime August, depending on what time frame you're looking at, can be a red month as well. But all the other months on average, when you add all their data up over the last, good bit, they are on average green months. September is the only one that's on average red. And so we'll see if we get a pullback this month. Again, if we do, I'll start adding to some of these positions. I don't mind buying some more stuff up. We're pretty much flat in our swing trades. Still in Apple, but it's kind of an investment at this point in time. We're in Exxon as well, Walmart, Tyson, and a little bit of Target, Snapchat, RTX. I'm surprised my Roblox trade. I know, I have still like over a month left before this thing expires. but it's been sitting basically at 28.50s, and it's a $30 option. So it's a $30 option. I would love for Roblox, and it did fight back. I mean, it was all the way down at 26s at one point. Now it's back over 28. So I mean, it is fighting back some, but we'll see how far it goes. All right, so bankrupt FTX has $7 billion in assets, including 38 properties in the Bahamas worth about $200 million, a court filing shows. All right, so Powell is going to host the town hall with educators on September 28th at 4 p.m. and will respond to questions by participants who would join the event virtually. I mean, I can stream this. It's not really about the market, but like, should I stream the town hall? I guess I will. A teacher town hall meeting. Again, it's yeah. So I guess we'll stream this, but good to know. Is there any use to converting shares to a paper certificate? Without Googling, name something Japan invented. Nintendo. Power Rangers. I mean, I'm a tech nerd, so like those are the things that I naturally, anime, Dragon Ball Z, JDM. Didn't Sam Bankman-Fried get mostly a slap on the wrist so far in court? Yeah. All right, guys, we are here. I didn't even watch the football game yesterday. How'd it go? JP Morgan Chase CEO says it's a, quote, huge mistake to think the economy will boom. What do y'all think? Yeah, a lot of people talking about Binance is in trouble. I heard a few people messaged me talking about how crypto was crashing. Is that true? No, maybe it was the opposite. No, it was a pretty big dump. This morning, though, crypto's all the way back up to over 26,000 for Bitcoin. What do you think of Oracle? Oh, wait, didn't Oracle drop earnings yesterday? Oh, yeah, they're down. I'm not sure what they're going to do. No idea. Let's do a poll. Does the SPY close above 450 today? All right, so there's the poll. Does the SPY close above 450 today? Let me know what you guys think. Oracle lost 9%. Yeah, if we look at Oracle's numbers, Deutsche launches DB Investment Partners. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I'm looking for Oracle's numbers. Didn't they release earnings yesterday? Or was that today? Okay, so yeah, Oracle posted 119 EPS, beat the 115 estimate. Sales of 12.45 billion, missed the 12.46. What? Who wrote this? This is wrong. Adjusted EPS is 119 for Oracle. Sales. It says sales missed, but it actually showed higher. It says sales at 12.45 billion. Oh, wait, never mind. It's right. Actually, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So here's what they said. Oracle. BDPS missed sales. There's those numbers right there for Oracle. BDPS missed sales. That's what I'm showing, at least. I'm not sure if that's right. Again, that's just what I'm showing. CPI is expected. We did a good video, Jad. So yeah, we did a pretty good video on CPI inflation data, as well as what to expect in the coming weeks, as well as Friday is Quad Witch Day. Oh, dude, I'm sore, man. Dude, jiu-jitsu's fun, bro. I've been training like every day. It's fun, dude. Crossface. That sucks. But it's actually effective and it's fun. You know. I had to show my wife and kids that one when I got home because my son keeps going to jiu-jitsu and like he just gets beat up because he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to do it, right? So I got to show him stuff that I learned. My daughter's just so cocky that she thinks she knows everything. She's just kind of like, I don't have to learn anything. You know. They put my daughter the first time you know, my daughter's one of the older kids in this jiu-jitsu class, right? And so when they do it, when they first put her in there, she kind of threw some of the other kids around because most of the other kids were smaller. Jack did too, to be honest. But then the last class, they put her against like a yellow belt, which I think kids, like an adult, it goes white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt, right? But I think kids have like different belts of something, like different belts. I think this kid was a yellow belt. Let me see. Yeah, white, gray, solid gray, gray, black, yellow, white, solid yellow. Okay, so this is like a really experienced kid. So they put her against a yellow belt in kids, which, you know, I didn't even know. I didn't even know how experienced that was. And bro, and this kid was tall too. My daughter's not the tallest kid, right? So this kid was tall. Bro, they put my daughter against this kid. And this kid just jumped on my daughter's arm and arm barred her in like 20 seconds. It was a female, but like she was good, dude. Like they did this challenge thing sometimes where they allow the kids to call out somebody else, right? In the last class before this kid called out one of the male instructors and like almost beat him. And so this kid's good, you know. My daughter was like, my daughter had a singular tear rolled down her cheek after it happened, and she said, "Daddy, my arm." And I was like, "Yeah." And first thing I told her was just, "Hey, you got to tap, you know, like if that happens, you just got to tap. Like you can't get your pride in the way. You just got to tap, you know." And she was like, "All right." And now she knows, but she was laughing, so she was kind of like cry laughing. So it was good spirits, you know. And now she knows. But yeah, that's been fun lately. That's what we've been doing. Yeah, I can't remember if my day was good yesterday. I'll have to check. Yeah, she had fun, dude. Again, my son didn't really understand what was going on either. My son, again, they put my son against a bunch of kids, and like since he's new, right? They put him against younger kids, and he was kind of throwing these younger kids around because, frankly, like they're young, right? And so they don't really know. And then they put him against another kid, and this kid just kind of rear naked choked him really quick, you know. And my son comes up to me afterwards, and he's like, "Daddy, this kid just tried to choke me." And I said, "I know, man. That's the point." And I said, "That's what he's supposed to do." And so now my son's open to learning because he doesn't want to get choked out anymore. But yeah, it's fun, man. Huge workout for sure. What is jujitsu exactly? I know kung fu. Judo's useful. Kung fu, is relatively useless. I'm not saying it's completely useless, but like kung fu as a martial art is like, you know. Taekwondo can be useful. Kung fu is just kind of, you know, kind of nonsense, to be honest. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but in my opinion, kung fu is just kind of nonsense. Jiu-jitsu is a grappling martial art, so it's mostly submissions. You know, it's mostly submissions. The end goal is a submission, but. And again, I'm just a white belt, you know. But still, judo's useful, you know. And judo and jiu-jitsu have a lot of similarities. Judo is mostly throws, you know, though I did judo when I was young too. All right, let me put some more music back on. So I'm going to go back to my old saves, but hey, thank you, Jad. Yeah, again, I'm trying to just teach people the economic data that comes out so they understand. Hey, what's up, Ricky? Yeah, Sambo. Sambo is basically like, it's hard to explain, but it's the Russian form of martial arts, grappling martial arts. So where Brazil has Brazilian jiu-jitsu and Japan has regular jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, Sambo is probably the most effective combination of all of them. You know Habib in the UFC, who's one of the GOATs. He does Sambo, and that dude, you know, Islam Makhachev, he does Sambo as well. Really effective, and just kind of a mix of like wrestling and judo and jiu-jitsu. It's kind of all of them combined, which is kind of what it should be. Who is your favorite UFC fighter? Sean O'Malley's fun to watch right now for sure. I liked Habib when Habib fought. I watched him a lot, but it varies. It depends. I don't really have a favorite. Yeah. What a Tesla run this volleyball game. Yeah, Tesla's popping back up here, man. Look at Tesla. Tesla's up. It's had a really good few days here, too. If we look at a daily chart, Tesla has been on the road up. It's over 260s. It's at 270s now. All right, so SPY back up to 447s. Again, the market's had a really nice rebound. A lot of people acted like it was the end of the world when we had that couple week period of pullbacks here. But again, if you look at the SPY, we're still kind of in this trend that we've been in lately. So if we look at the SPY here, we're still kind of in this trend. You know, I think it's pretty easy to draw a long-term trend here. All you got to do is really like this. You know, and I think you could argue this is the long-term trend. Now, you know, I'm not saying this is what we're in or not, but Patty Pimblett. Patty's actually really good. No, he's good. That guy's good, dude. I wouldn't say he's overhyped. But he's good. So he injured his ankle. So yeah, he injured his ankle recently, and so he's not really fighting anytime soon. But yeah, so again, here's the trend. You could argue we're in this trend. The question is, if we're in this trend right now, again, judging by it, does this mean that we're going to dip down like this today? Or not today, but I mean, if we are in this trend, this kind of scenario is possible where we dip down to the bottom and then start to bounce back up. I hope we don't. 425s is not really a level I want to see us in, but generally the market's not going to go straight up either. I'll know one thing. If we do dip down there, everybody's going to be saying it's the end of the world. But I think the SPY has a pretty obvious trend right here. So I think the trend on this is pretty obvious. Now, I hope we break it to the upside, but I'm not sure. Again, let me know what you guys think. Again, I really don't know. Do me a favor. Hit the like button as well. Let's try to get over 100 likes if we can before 7:30. Definitely appreciate it. Oracle came in pretty rough for earnings. Oracle at 114s. So Oracle did come in pretty rough. What about AMD? What's AMD doing? NVIDIA, again, is another one that you want to watch. NVIDIA had a really red open yesterday. Dipped all the way from 460s all the way down to 440s if we look at NVIDIA here. Again, really rough open yesterday. This thing pummeled down from, again, 460s all the way to 450s, under 450s most of the day at 449.30s. Pull up our Discord. All right, so the Nasdaq trying to bounce up a little bit too. Again, Tesla on the left side, and again, we do have the Apple event today, which is a big event. It's called Wonderlust. Let me check. All right, iPhone 15 potentially coming out. Apple Watch Series 9, Apple Watch Ultra 2, maybe an iPhone Ultra. So yeah, they're talking about rumored iPhone, Apple Watches that are new. iPhone 15 rumors are circulating. A lot of people talking about a potential rebranding of the larger Pro model, and they're going to rebrand it to the iPhone Ultra 15. Yeah, so people are saying could the sand particles refer to better camera capabilities, better design, less boxy design, more colors? You know, I know one thing is that a lot of the time these events are really hyped, but sometimes they can be underwhelming and disappointing. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be for Apple, but I know there's the potential for that. There will be likely 4 models in the new phone: iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, and Pro Max. The iPhone 15 and 15 Plus will basically be a repackaged iPhone 14 Pro without the telephoto camera or stainless steel body. New phones are going to get a 48 megapixel main camera in the A16 chip from the 14 Pros. Again, we're probably going to be streaming this too. All right, so some of the analysts said that they aren't expecting base iPhone 15s to get a high refresh rate like the Pros. All 4 iPhone 15 models will support 15-watt wireless charging using the QI2 open standard announcement this year. People going away from the Lightning connector. Yeah, a lot of people saying like one of the biggest changes in the Apple event is going to be they are no longer going to be using the Lightning chargers. They're instead going to adopt USB-C like the rest of the freaking world, which is good, instead of a Lightning port. Yeah, so most of the models are going to be sold with a USB-C port. All right, cool. Hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they touch on the Vision Pro. You know, the Vision Pro. Yeah, we'll see if they mention AI today. Nah, I don't think they're going to do that. Apple may pump today. Maybe. It may also dip too. We don't know. It's well, we got to look at Apple in that regard is like this, okay? So we can look at Apple. Here's a 10-day chart. So again, here's a 10-day chart. We are already down to 189.90s. Or we were at 190 basically on the 5th. We dipped all the way to 173s, and then we popped back to 180s. We're sitting right around 180s now. Yeah, I'm curious about that too. If they're going to lose money without having like their own charging, like without having that as a necessity, like without causing the consumer to absolutely need Apple chargers relative to all the other ones. Why is Oracle down so much on those results? Were people expecting more? Yeah, Oracle's down a lot. I'm looking at some of their releases now for Oracle. Revenue missed. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're down so much. Larry Ellison said in the Oracle earnings report, quote, as of today, AI development companies have signed contracts to purchase more than $4 billion of capacity in Oracle's Generation 2 cloud. So maybe we'll get some Oracle hype. Oracle cloud revenue in the first quarter was up 30%. Cloud infrastructure was up 66%. Cloud application revenue came in at 16 or 17% increase. Fusion Cloud ERP revenue was up 21%, and NetSuite Cloud ERP revenue was up 21% as well. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get some overreactions. It depends on what Oracle's done lately. I mean, that's a drop for sure. But I mean, Oracle's right back to where it was in late August, you know. So I mean, it's not the end of the world drop. Like if you look at Oracle here, if you look at Oracle, and then here's Tesla. But yeah, if you look at Oracle, I mean, it's a big drop. It's not small, but it's also not the end of the world. Like we're basically right back where we were here at about 112. So I mean, it's not good, but maybe there's some dip buys to argue when you look at a long-term chart for Oracle with all the AI hype that they've had. You know, it's not the end of the world here. If Apple keeps prices at an okay level, the stock will move up. Maybe. Sometimes hype can take over stuff more, but in the end, taking either direction's pretty risky ahead of this. You know, it doesn't matter if you're going long or short. Nobody really knows how the market's going to react to the iPhone announcement, the data, the CPI. You know what I mean? And so taking huge positions ahead of it on both the long and the short side is pretty dumb, in my opinion. But, you know, do what y'all do. Oracle's a big company. Yeah, Oracle's huge. Yeah, Oracle's been ripping up with AI lately for sure. Oracle, the biggest company, 300 billion market cap. Yeah, it's huge. Oracle stock price doubled this year. Yeah, I mean, AI hype has ripped Oracle up a lot. You know, it started the year off at about 77s, 60s at one point, and so it's up over 100% from the $60 level. Not quite anymore. A little bit less than 100% actually now if you take into account the recent drops, but yeah, AMD as well. I think iPhone 15 will be more popular upgrade. 14 was not, so likely increase sales over the coming months. But Apple giving up their charging ecosystem will have a negative impact on their revenue for sure. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, AMD, another AI stock. The problem is that AI has been pulling back a little bit, and that's kind of understandable. Nvidia and all the rest of these stocks were just up obscene amounts, right? So very few people thought these would actually hold. And so it really is something that, like, it's not a super big shock to see Nvidia pull back over the past couple days. You know, it was over 500 at one point, but it's been pulling back basically since the start of September, which again is not really a huge shock. The question is, where does it stabilize? Where does the bottom come in at? And where does it start to bounce? And I don't really know. Yeah, just look, if you're gonna trade the Apple event, just remember, like, nobody knows if the reaction is gonna be good or bad. And again, what I always tell people is like the most decisive somebody is regarding it, like the most somebody acts like they know what's gonna happen, the least they probably know. The Dunning-Kruger effect in trading is very true, where it's like sometimes the people who act like they know the most know the least, and that usually is because they don't have enough experience in the markets to really recognize how little they know. You know what I mean? And if you don't know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, again, I saw a Jubilee video. I think it was a Jubilee video, and they were like talking about people's IQs, right? And they were asking people to rank their own IQ, right? To take an IQ test. They were going to take an IQ test, but prior to that test, they were going to rank each person there based off of what they thought their IQ was, right? And they would put them in order. And they had one guy who was like in the military, who was kind of pretty humble and like nice and like just reasonable and didn't say he was a genius or anything like that, and was just pretty humble dude, right? And then you had another person, another girl who basically would just brag the whole time. She was basically bragging about how much she knew and how great she was and about how many degrees she had and all this different stuff. And so she made the guy, the military dude, last. Like, she picked him last and she picked herself second, and then when the results came out, he was like second, I think, and she was last out of everybody there. And so again, it really was a situation in which the brightest person in the room was the weakest person in the room. The person who acted like they knew the most generally knew the least. And again, that's very true with trading sometimes as well. And really fun video to watch. I recommend y'all watch that video because again, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. NVIDIA can go back to 300s. They got to hold up 400s. Yeah, I mean, NVIDIA, it just depends on how much the whole ecosystem of AI takes off. AI is already huge, but a lot of people are going to consider NVIDIA extended, especially when you calculate like the PE ratio and all that good stuff. It's just really high. And so it's not surprising. Again, even if we pull back now for stuff like NVIDIA here, right? Like, even if we pull back now, you could argue we're still in this little trend short term, right? So even if we pull back here, you could argue we're in this trend now. Maybe that's not the best looking trend, but you could argue that's the trend we're in now for NVIDIA. And if we are, then we could be approaching a bounce spot, a bounce level. CEO Dan Rabinowitz, a former Department of Justice trial attorney, told Axios his AI model can now predict how a judge will rule with 86% accuracy. Well, what is it basing the predictions on then? So if it's got 86% accuracy without even considering the facts of the case, what is it basing its prediction on? Hey, what's up, DC? AMC back up a little bit, man. I hope it continues to rip back up. It's back up some. Yeah, looking at AMC, I hope AMC can hold. Is core CPI tomorrow supposed to remain flat? Core CPI is actually supposed to go down, and it's one thing, like, you'll see the bears a lot, and the bears will, when CPI is higher than expected, they'll bring that up. They'll see CPI is higher than expected. When core CPI is higher than expected, they'll bring that up and ignore the other one, right? And so whichever, the one that's the worst is the most important one for the bearish traders usually. But core CPI is actually expected to decrease. So again, core CPI year over year is expected to drop from 4.7% last time to 4.3% this time. Month over month, core is expected to stay the same at 0.2%. So if we're talking about food and energy exclusion with inflation data, core CPI expected to dip a little bit month to month. Regular CPI is expecting to increase 0.4%. So regular CPI is expected to go up from 3.2 to 3.6%, and then month over month from 0.2% to 0.6%. Again, a 0.4% uptick month to month is what they're expecting. And yeah, we'll see what happens. And then we also have 30-year mortgage rates coming out at 7.2% is what they're expecting tomorrow. Thursday, we got jobless claims, PPI, retail sales. I can't wait to see NVIDIA split. Boy, I'll definitely buy. Maybe. I think NVIDIA, it depends on how you look at the market. Like, if you look at AI potential, long term, I think NVIDIA is going to be fine. I think it depends on what time frame we're looking at it. Long term, I think there's a great argument for NVIDIA's success. Short term, that's when it gets a little sketchy, I think. I think if you're trying to predict it short term, that can be kind of sketchy, and you want to be careful there because, again, nobody knows what NVIDIA is going to do short term. A lot of people are arguing it's extended on the upside, and absolutely true. I understand that logic as well. But I think when you zoom out, I think that's when you can start to see some potential strength in NVIDIA. And again, we'll see. Apple up to 180s again. We can look at the SPY. We can look at the NASDAQ here on the Q. Slight red day, but a green day for like the Q. The NASDAQ was really green yesterday too, but the Q started to break under the volume weighted average price. AMC business model is not sustainable in the long run. I think people are always going to want to see movies. The problem, like, this is what I genuinely expect for AMC and other movie theaters like it. And I'm holding AMC. I hope it goes up. What I expect is them to dwindle. I expect revenue to dwindle over time. I expect them to still be around. I expect AMC to still own, like, run and operate. I don't think they're in a huge risk of like failing like that, unless they have bad management, is really what it is, which is possible. I guess that is possible, but I don't expect them to fail outright. Although, again, it is possible. I just expect them to lose. I expect their margins to get worse over time because I think people are just going to. I think over time, people just don't see as. I think as TV technology grows, people are going to go to movies less. And I think that's understandable. But I think people are still going to go to movies. I think they're still going to go to movies. And it's an event. It's a date night. It's somewhere you take your spouse. It's an event to go do. But again, I think over time, the margins are just going to get a little bit worse for AMC and other companies like it. And so we might see that reflected in their earnings and stuff, but that's my expectation for it. Unless they do something crazy that puts some butts in the seats, that's what I expect. I expect them to be okay, but I expect them to lose a little bit more money. I expect their margins to get worse over time because people are going to go to the movies less. As well as, like, unless usually, like, historically there was always one big movie that was out in theaters. Now if we got one big movie a year, they're doing okay. So Disney was getting close to finalizing their deal with Charter, from my understanding. Again, here's Disney. Let's see. Yeah, so Disney and Charter ended their dispute, restoring ESPN and ABC. So that's what it is. Yeah, so here is the news for Disney. Yeah, 200 people here and 54 likes. 75% of you are slacking. Hey, we can get over 100 likes before 7:30. So do it now. Hit the like button now, guys. We appreciate it. Yeah, Endeavor is the UFC parent company too. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to mute the music for just a sec. Let me see. All right. All right. So yeah, CPI data coming out tomorrow. Mm. There we go. All right. So Jerome Powell, the goat, the man. All right, team. CPI data coming out, team. CPI data coming out. All right, guys. Let's see. Edit video. Here, make sure this is muted in the background. Okay, we're good there. Yeah, EDR. I've been an investor of EDR. I just sold it because it just doesn't do anything, man. It's been basically in the same spot for years and years and years. You know. All right. All right. So there's got to be some ways to do this. All right, guys. There we go. All right, guys. So again, the Q and the Nasdaq have basically fallen all the way down under the volume weighted average price. Yeah. So Stable coin. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything. It's just so it's honestly I saw this one when it IPO'd. It's still at the same spot it's been at for years. Like if you look at a yearly chart, it's pretty flat. If you look at a weekly chart, it's even more flat. It's been flat basically since over a year and a half. It hasn't done anything. It's been going up and down, up and down. So yeah, I mean it's just not doing that much. Let me see. So I still should be muted in the background. Um, all right, guys. All right, so let's unmute this music here. There we go. Nasdaq near the bottom of the trend line. Yeah, I mean the Q is all the way testing the lows of the day. Really, Tesla's starting to break down too, and so it's something in which we had a really green day yesterday, and now we're kind of flat sideways. Yeah, so let me know if you think CPI will come in higher or lower than expected. But let me post a video here. It should. There we go. Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, VK? Higher? Maybe. Let's look at our poll numbers here. So we did a poll. 55% says the SPY closes over 450 today. 45% says no. Yeah, we got the Apple event today. Again, that's going to influence stuff too. Yeah, I'm looking at some other stuff too. I just don't see anything that looks good. I'm looking at my swing trades to see if we got anything that's dipping. Walgreens has been on a tear down here. Why has Walgreens been so weak lately? Walgreens is just steady dropped, man. Walgreens lowered its full year earnings guidance to fall between $4 and $4.05 per share. They didn't. They cited challenging consumer and macroeconomic conditions and lowered testing volumes. Is it time to buy Walgreens on a dip? My question is like, what is the future of this? Walgreens can't be close to failure, can it? I mean, I guess it could, but like, you know, I guess it could, but Also, remember, you got to roll over your futures contracts too. If you haven't yet, you got to roll over your futures contracts. We are now in Z instead of U3. We're in Z3. All right, we're taking a little trade early this morning on our funded account here on Top Step. Pretty much flat. We'll see how this one reacts. Down 20 so far. Ideally looking for a little dip down here to test this low level. There we go. Flat so far. I want to give it time to really break down some more. And again, this is on our funded Top Step account. Trying to be patient here. All right, up about 20, 25, nice, 35, 40. We go ahead and lock that in. Made about $40 on our funded account just now. We'll take that. Cool. Got a little cushion on the day so far on that. All right. Yeah, Rite Aids are definitely struggling. Walgreens took a huge hit. Yeah. CVS ran. Dollar General looks good here at these all-time low prices. No, I don't think Dollar General looks good anywhere. And the problem with DG is simple. Their business will be obsolete within a few years. You know, everything you buy at Dollar General, you can buy on Amazon right now. Everything you buy there, you can buy on Amazon. And so, again, what happens is like most of the people that shop at Dollar General are like the older population, right? Like I would say over 50. And so as time goes on, that generation is going to, you know, buy less and less, you know, and this younger generation just does not use them like that. I don't think, at least that's what I'm thinking. Again, I might be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I can't think it's good to like Dollar General is one of those stocks where sure it's around lows, but I think their business is going to be obsolete in 10 years. I don't think people are really going to use them in 10 years. And so I think this is one of the worst companies to hold long term because you're basically like, if you really think about it, you're investing in brick and mortar. You're investing in a really obsolete brick and mortar business, in my opinion. And maybe I'm wrong, you know, but like, look at the long-term chart. It's looking rough. You know, you look at a weekly chart. Just to put this up here. Look, here's DG. That's a pretty rough looking long-term chart, brother. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not messing with it. I disagree. A lot of people don't shop on Amazon. I never do. Right. But just because you're different doesn't mean everybody else is. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. You know, you live how you want to live. I'm not judging anybody for how they want to do things. But again, you need to understand there's always outliers. But it's a very small percentage of people that are going to say, hey, I could get this stuff shipped to me and get it overnight. but instead I'm going to waste gas money when gas is incredibly expensive, and I'm going to instead go drive somewhere to do it. I think that's a very small percentage of people, especially over time. Like, you might do that now. Over time, it's going to dry up more and more, in my opinion. Hey, let's get over 100 likes, guys. Hey, we need how many likes? We need 20 likes to get over 100. Yeah, I see your point too. It's all good. Yeah, Dollar General is, again, I think when you look at Dollar General, it's got less and less people shopping there. I just think it's again, this is like buying a building that's on fire. For Dollar General, it's just not something that I could, again, maybe I'm wrong, and I could be wrong for sure. Like, maybe I am wrong. Maybe there's like a nuance of it that I don't understand, or like a consumer trend that I'm missing here. It's possible. I mean, I don't know. But for me, I'm certainly not buying Dollar General. It just seems like a really risky investment that is almost certainly going to fail over the next 20. So if something's almost certainly going to fail over the next 20 years, I don't want to buy it, regardless of what it does in between there. T is at all-time lows. I mean, I'm not going to say I said it. Where's Dish at? Well, man. Look at Dish. You love to be right. That's what I try to tell people, man. AT&T, Dish, both super vulnerable. You know why? Because that trend is changing. Like, you don't need to lock yourself into contracts for years. Like, prepaid services are taking over, especially in phone carriers, because you can get a good prepaid service, get basically the same thing. You can spend $65 a month, get unlimited call and data, and text and data, no contract. So, like, why lock yourself into a 2-year deal with AT&T? Of course, they want you to do it because their margins are much better when they talk people into doing that. Most of the time, it has to do with people wanting a new phone and they want to finance it, right? And you can't really finance it on prepaid. And when you're getting ripped off financing it anyway, but I think nowadays with like the evolution of resale, I think people are buying their own phones much more now. And with iPhones, I think it's also become saturated to a certain extent, in which, like, a lot of the phones are the same. To be honest, when I broke my Z Fold phone, when I broke this phone, I went and bought like a cheapo phone at Best Buy. It was like $100, $120. And I used that phone for like a month and a half. I really didn't notice much of a difference. Like, I really didn't notice much of a difference between the cheapo $120 phone and the $1,000 phone that I have now. There's really, this phone is definitely better, but it's not that much better. And so I think over time that's gonna, I think AT&T and Dish and other companies like it are in trouble. Well, oil's a different story, Quantum, but I definitely think there's risks. Advanced Auto Parts is okay. They actually use a service, and I think people need stuff like that. People for automotive specifically, they not only do they want to go pick it up same day instead of having it shipped, they want to talk to like an expert, or they want to talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. And so they go to Advanced Auto Parts and stuff like that, and they talk to the reps there, and they see what they can do. I think that makes them a little bit more, a little bit less vulnerable to that type of thing, a little bit more safe. Yeah, oil, I think people are still going to use gas cars into the future. There's a risk of them losing. It's kind of like the AMC argument, right? Where it's not like AMC. I think big oil has much greater chance of success than AMC, but the argument is similar, in which I think oil's going to be okay. Their margins might be a little bit worse because you're going to have that other avenue of EV that you didn't have before, and so it's just going to dilute their sales a little bit more. But But I think they're still going to be fine. I think people are always going to use internal combustion motors to a certain extent. Even if EVs become popular for a time being, I think oil will still be okay. But yeah, I can definitely agree that it's probably still a little risky. Yeah, maybe not. What's up, Elvin? Yeah, I mean, I believe that, Chris. But my point is, I think brick and mortar auto parts stores are going to be a little bit more safe. All right, guys. So yeah, we do have the Wanderlust event today. The Q still rejecting here again. Here's Dollar General. We can look at some other stuff too. Again, AMC back up to 740s. Apple with their Wonderlust event. We'll see if they do anything good. Again, we'll try to stream it. It's our first time streaming a big event like this, and so I mean, not a big event, but it's our first time streaming like an iPhone event. And so I think we'll, hopefully we're gonna get good views. We'll get thousands of people here, most likely, and we'll see what Apple stock does during the event. That's something else that we're gonna try to cover for sure. Yeah. Yeah, you're always gonna need lubricants. The event starts at noon my time, so it starts in about 5 hours, I think. 5 a little bit over 5 hours. All right, again, hey, hit the like button, guys. We need 6 likes to break 100. We can do it. Puts on Apple before the stream. Hey, good luck, dude. So if Apple slumps, can I pump? Yeah, so Apple is such a heavily weighted stock, guys. So again, Apple, very heavily weighted stock. It's a stock that will influence the market. Just a big, heavily weighted stock. And so, whatever the event does to the market or to Apple will probably have some type of sympathy with the rest of the market as well. So if Apple slumps really big on this event, then the rest of the market will probably dip a little bit too. So what are you talking about, Bob? It's not illegal for me to stream the Apple event, dude. Long as he talks over it with commentary. Yeah, I mean, it's not illegal, even if I streamed it purely. Yeah, Apple wants as much press and publicity as they can get. Like, it's not against the rules to stream it, Yeah, the Apple events have caused bearish action for sure. Um, yeah, that's the only big thing about it. What stocks are you talking about? So somebody saying, why do you refuse to look at all the stocks I mentioned? I mean, bro, list the symbols, dude. I'm not sure which stocks you're mentioning, man. Again, we got hundreds of people here, brother. And so it's kind of hard for me to keep track of everybody's comments, dude. But list your stocks. I'll look at them. ADSK. Neutral trend on the year. Good longer term trend, although it's been in a slump since 21. Yeah, I mean, it's just not something I'm super familiar with. I don't really know this company like that. And so the trend looks good, but again, it's just not really a company that I know super well. I'm sorry to hear that, Jessica. Yeah, I don't think the music's that bad. If it is, let me know. Yeah, so again, the Apple event today at noon. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time. Hmm. All right, guys. So what do you think will happen to Tesla today? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to play any music. The music I play is pure copyright free music. Yeah. Hmm. All right, guys, I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. I'm looking up whether I should actually try to stream this. Yeah, VWAP's a powerful trend. Oracle earnings yesterday. Well, I'm going to the bathroom break. Will Apple stock react positively to the Apple Wonderlust event? Apple stock react positively to the Apple Wonderlust event. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let me know what you guys. Let me check. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Thanks so much. Ugh, Jay, dude, get out of here, man. So much nonsense, bro. Again, every major release. Again, a lot of when I hear somebody say that this CPI is going to be some imminently catastrophic event for the market, I immediately say this person's new to trading. And that might hurt your pride a little bit. Again, I'm not attacking anybody. I'm just being honest, okay? Every single CPI report, they say this one's different. This one's going to crash the market. This is the one. It's like, listen, if you find yourself betting against the US market long term, stop, take a step back, and evaluate what has caused you to have that bias. Because true market people that understand the market are going to understand how risky that is. And again, every major economic report, we get the same thing. They say, and my only issue with it, I wouldn't talk about it so much. But again, my only issue with it is that it discourages people from actually buying. People were saying the same thing a year ago. They said, "Oh, the market's going to crash. This is it. Dun dun dun. This is the disaster that's about to happen." And again, they stopped people from buying a year ago. Markets ripped up huge percentages since then. And now it's just kind of crickets. Most of the people that called that are just kind of silent now. So again, my point is, it's fine to be bearish, but be smart. Yeah, the leaks. Oh, the CPI was leaked. Yeah. And it's all good, Jay. Like I said, bro, it's all good, dude. I just disagree. And I don't think pressuring people, like, listen, man. Again, I think what happens if you don't watch CPI very much, like if you're not super experienced in terms of like CPI, you might think like, oh, some craziness is going to happen. CPI is usually usually CPI causes some influence. The rate hike decision the week after that is going to be big too, but it's almost certain that we're going to pause. And again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think a lot of people have confirmation bias. Like they want the market to drop. Like they could want the market to drop for a number of different reasons. One of them is they're betting against the market. Maybe they have put options against the market, right? Another one is maybe they work in mortgages and they want the market to drop because that means mortgage rates are going to drop and it's going to make mortgages a little bit less expensive for people so that their businesses starts to heat up when it's been really struggling. Regardless of what their bias is, that's generally what happens when you see people that are just really, really bearish. Is like they usually have a reason that something they want to happen, so they're overestimating the likelihood of it happening. And again, maybe not, but we'll have to wait and see what CPI shows up as tomorrow. Like even 3.6%. So even if we come in on the high end of that, right? If we look at this for CPI, even if we come in on the high end of that, right? So let's see. Right now it is the 12th. Tomorrow is Wednesday with CPI. So even if we come in on the high percent, even if we come in over 3.6%, when you compare that to where we were a year ago, it's so much lower. And inflation has gotten much better. If we look at actually the CPI website, and again, I'm not saying we don't have a red day tomorrow. I'm not really sure what we're going to get tomorrow. My point is even if we do, again, people overpredict crashes is really what it is. I think the market's probably going to drop this month because it's September and generally the market falls. But if we look at charts, major categories like energy are down 12.5%. Let's see. Let's go to next. 12-month percentage change CPI selected categories. Yeah, you can kind of see the drop that we've come. So like, look, here's the drop that we've been in. So like, look at this graph, right? So here's the drop that we've been in over the last year for CPI. So you can kind of see we have been dipping for the last year back down. We were at really high levels, almost 10%. And that CPI data is going to start coming back down. Any bias is bad in the market. Confirmation bias works in both ways. Bulls have bias too, 100%. But I think the difference here, and again, I'm certainly biased, right? But the main difference is that my bullish bias usually turns out to be correct over time, right? So if we zoom out and we wait, the market's going to go up. Like the market's going to go up. It's not really arguable. You know, the market's going to go up over time. And so the main difference between having like an overwhelmingly bearish bias and an overwhelmingly bullish bias is simple. The bulls usually turns out to be correct long term, where the bears have what, like a 2% chance of being right, and that generally the market's just going to go up against them, right? And so understand, like long term, everybody's bias should be up. If it's not, then you find yourself again betting against the market long term. Somewhere you were misled, like somewhere you were misled. And again, that's just the reality of it. And so I try to help people here and just be smart. Like understand we might crash. Like certainly we absolutely could crash. But even if we do crash, the market's going to come back eventually. And I think that's the big difference. The deadline is Friday, BS, I'm pretty sure, for futures rollover. I've already rolled over my contracts, but I think the deadline is Friday. What goes up must come down. Oh, that's not true. Not in investing for sure. It's actually the opposite. So like most of the time, I don't understand why people say that what must go up, come down. Not in the stock market. You know, again, here's a great, you want to see the greatest example of that? Like, look at this, right? So here's the S&P. What happened? So again, listen, the S&P 500 in 1946 went up to $19. Why didn't it ever come back to $19? Why didn't it ever come back and go below 19? You know? Again, in 1987, the S&P was at $240. Why didn't it ever come back down? What happened? Now it's at 4,500. And so that's not true at all, especially in investing in blue chips. What goes up does not have to come back down. In fact, once it goes up, it's actually pretty unlikely that it's going to come back down. And that's the mistake I think a lot of people are making. Do you use an API platform for your news? I mean, yeah, I use a bunch of news sources. Yeah, I mean, this is excluding like a black swan scenario where, you know, but again, in that situation, we got bigger problems than like short positions. In that situation, we got much larger problems than worried about what like the market's gonna do. Again, people are saying, well, nah, the market can come all the way back down if X happens. If X happens, again, we got much bigger problems than worrying about being right about the stock market. Inflation adjusted doesn't mean anything, Jay, because the sole purpose of the S&P 500 is to keep up with inflation. Like, that's what it's doing. It's keeping up with inflation. The same reason real estate's keeping up with inflation, or gold is keeping up with inflation, you know? And so an inflation adjusted chart, again, the whole point of investing in the S&P is to keep up with inflation. That's what it does. It's inflation hedges, right? Gold, S&P 500, real estate, the NASDAQ, the Dow, silver. You know what I mean? These are all inflation hedges. Like, you invest in these things to keep up with inflation over time, so that you don't get screwed over time and lose money by the devaluing of your dollars. Yeah, I see you, E. Wayne. Yeah, Bitcoin has been volatile over the last few days too. Bitcoin up to over 26 now, though, so it's bounced all the way back. It dipped under 25K for a split second this morning, or yesterday morning. I've got some in Bitcoin. And again, I know how people are. Like, I know people are gonna say I'm just a perma bull and I'm against bears. I'm really not against bears. Like, I can absolutely recognize that anything can happen short term. Anything could happen. We could get parabolic drops. We could get parabolic bounces. The market could tank. The market could drop. The market could fall. Whatever you want to call it. The market could drop heavily short term. That's very possible. Yeah. But as long as people can recognize that when you zoom out, the market's going up, and I see people, the reason it seems like I'm so biased, I think, and I sound like a broken record, and I'm sure a lot of people here are like, oh, John never shuts up about this. And maybe that's true. But the reason I'm like that is because I see people come here and it's like every single major economic report they're saying is bearish. They're finding the bearish argument and they're pushing for it. Right. And at this point, it's been months and months and months and months. And in these months period, the market's just kind of gone like this, yet they retain the bearish sentiment. And so at a certain point, it's just, some people use the 500 as their savings account over their bank account. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, that's the right way to do it. Again, if you hold something for years, I had a jiu-jitsu buddy that asked me about the stock market. He said, hey, I have X amount of money saved. And like, you guys know me, I'm usually pretty conservative with people asking me to invest their money. I had some family that came up to me and they said, hey, John, why don't I can give you 4,000 or 5,000. You think you can try to double it really quick? And my response to them was absolutely not. I'm not touching your money. I don't want to trade your money. I don't like trading other people's money. I don't want people. I get people all the time that reach out to me on the stream and they say, hey, John, can you trade my account? Can you trade my Top Step account? Or can you trade my TOS account? Or can I give you my login and you trade? And I always tell them the same thing, which is absolutely not. Never am I going to be open to doing that. And so when this person asked me about it, I told him, I said, look, short-term trading is risky. If you unless you have time to learn how to day trade, which takes time, you don't want a short-term trade. Unless you want to devote the time to learning, which is not most people. And so I told him, I was like, look, if I was you and I had 50K saved, again, what I would do is I would buy the S&P, the NASDAQ, gold, maybe real estate investment trust or real estate ETFs of some sort, and then maybe some bonds, and I would sit on that for 5+ years. If you sit on that for 5+ years, you're going to make money most likely. Now, unless you get stuck in like a really bad timing scenario where the market crashes right towards the end, if that does happen, then you might have to sit on it a little bit longer. But that's what I would do. Again, I would diversify into all the major ones and I would just sit. You can either do that or you could go with like a real estate cash flow where you just buy and hold. But that's a different thing. You'd have to get like hard money loans, and 50K isn't really enough, and it would just be a different thing. Just for perspective, the last time I listened to someone say when in doubt, zoom out was AMC, and John, we both know where that went. Yeah, but I know when I'm speaking like this, I'm always talking about blue chips, right? No offense to AMC, but AMC is not what I would consider a blue chip investment. And so, yeah, again, I'm only talking about large cap, really well-known large cap companies, and AMC is just not that. AMC is a very speculative, struggling company that's been on a long-term downtrend for years. So just a different thing. When in doubt, if you're doubting blue chips, or really what we're talking about is the S&P 500, or the NASDAQ or the Dow, or whatever your broad market ETF you want to use. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all good. Yeah, I'm in AMC. I hope it goes up. But again, I talked about this earlier. I think AMC will probably be okay long term. It's just going to lose a little bit. Its revenue is going to decrease over time, so its margins are going to be worse. I think it's going to still be around, though. I don't think it's going to like fail, although it's possible. I mean, it's definitely not impossible for AMC to go bankrupt over the next few years and something sketchy to happen. I think if they do, it'll be like a reorganizational bankruptcy, like a Chapter 11, not a Chapter 7 or anything, like a Chapter 11 reorganizational bankruptcy. I think that's possible too. But again, here's the Q, the NASDAQ. When I'm day trading, a lot of the time I prefer day trading the Q or the NASDAQ. It's just easier. More volatility, less range. Tesla's up a lot the last few days. Aviation Life says, what do you think about Tesla? Tesla is up a good bit. The last few days it's at 270s. Right now it had a pretty big day. A couple days ago it was at 240s. And so Tesla being at 270s is really big news. So really, yesterday, Tesla went from 245s at the close the day before, opened up yesterday, ripped all the way up to 260s before the open. During market hours, it flew all the way up to 275s basically yesterday. So if I had to pick, I think the momentum is going to be on the upside, but the extension is also on the upside as well. And so I think it's possible that today we have like a small red day for Tesla because it's been so green the last few that it just makes sense that extension is eventually going to pull it back or whatever, Yeah, I've never tried the Russell. What's the symbol in? Can you trade the Russell in futures? What's the symbol if you can? Yeah, so again, Jerome Powell is going to be doing a town hall with educators in Washington, D.C. On September 28th. It's a teacher town hall meeting. I'm trying to see if there's any other info about this. I mean, I don't know how relevant it's going to be to the market, but I'm still probably going to try to stream, and it's at 4 p.m. Eastern time on September 28th. I wish we had more info on this. Should I register and do a ask a question? What kind of questions are they? So a teacher town hall meeting. I guess it's about the future of education, but there might be some relevant questions to the economy and markets, but yeah, not going to be our typical Jerome Powell press conference, that is. Yeah, Oracle yesterday is down a huge amount. It's dropped what? Mixed results. I didn't see any bad guidance numbers either for Oracle, so I'm not really sure why it dipped so much. But again, sometimes with earnings, you just never know. The Russell 1000, iShares Russell 2000, Vanguard Russell 2000. What is the Russell 2000 ETF symbol? So it's IWM. So yeah, here's the Russell 2000 IWM. Again, the problem is like when I'm looking to trade, I want big volatility, and this one looks choppy. You know, the reason I like the Q is because of volatility. The SPY is volatility. All right, so it looks like IWM futures. It's the same thing, IWM. And so let me pull it up on Quant Tower to see if we can trade. Yeah, we could trade it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see if you can even trade the IWM Russell one. I'll have to go back and look. I don't think you can. E-mini Russell should be RTY. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really a big Russell trader. Yeah, there it is. You're actually correct. Thanks. Yeah, so here's the Russell 2000 futures. I mean, you can kind of see like it's not bad. It's not like if you try to trade the Bitcoin futures contract, but it's not necessarily good either. So again, like you can kind of see it here. I wouldn't really call this good price action. You can see it's a little bit more choppy, less liquidity here. So because of that, I try to stick to the more volatile, more liquid symbols. He's big, Eric, for sure. Yeah, I think maybe Bob was right in which I probably shouldn't stream the Apple event. Problem is like Apple is streaming it themselves on YouTube, and so me streaming Apple event might not be good. So I'm just gonna skip that and not worry about that today. Yeah, I like the SPY. The Q is the NASDAQ. The Dow's all right. I've been trading it a little bit more lately, but not like a ridiculous amount. Yeah, so again, CPI data. Again, Apple event today. Tesla trying some. We'll see how Apple is influenced by everything. Why is Nvidia down right now, man? Nvidia's down a lot the last couple of days. Again, it was up so much at 500 plus. Coffee. Who's getting on YouTube's income stream? US 30 to go through 35,000 easy money. So that's the Dow, right? So we look at the Dow here. Yeah, it's right around 35K now. Here's the Dow futures contract. Right around 34.97. 35 is right here. So right around 35K. It's such a big whole dollar level for 35s. So like here's 35 here. The Dow is just not the most liquid one either. Again, I like the NASDAQ, the Q, or the SPY. So that would be the NQ in futures and the ES in futures. Yeah, I mean they've always done it here, but yeah, here's the Dow on the left, Apple on the right. Here's Tesla. Yeah. All right, guys. Couple minutes. All right, so hackers who took down MGM Resorts computer networks are asking for a large ransom, according to an insider. Rumor has it Caesars was recently hacked in the same manner and paid out $30 million to avoid problems MGM is experiencing now. Some Nevada Gaming Control Board investigators are on site. So yeah, basically hackers are taking over MGM Resorts computer networks. They're asking for money for it, which again, I'm not sure if we'll see if they get away with it or not. Let me know what you guys think. And again, for more updates, again, subscribe, hit that follow button, guys. We appreciate it. Let me clip this. All right, so I'm gonna mute the music for a second so I can clip that MGM news. Would y'all pay if y'all are Caesars? All right. There we go. Bro, what I hate, dude, is like, it's like I do these clips and it's like, sometimes it just doesn't copy. I got to go all the way back out to this. How does this dude have a check mark? Let's see. All right, so hackers who took. There we go. Thoughts on DraftKings? I think DraftKings is up so much over the last year that it's a little extended on the upside, and you know, usually with companies like this, like they make big pushes and then they correct, and then they make big pushes and then they correct. And so I think it just depends on how long you're planning on holding it. DraftKings it's not the biggest like company in the world. I would label it as a mid cap stock, but I think it'll probably do okay medium to long term, but you never really know. All right, guys. So Apple's still sitting at 180s. I don't know if it's going to hold again. A lot of people are saying that a lot of the time Apple has bad reactions to these events. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I really don't know. So we got into a couple different trades today. One of them we made a little bit on our funded account on Top Step. And if you want to day trade with us, Top Step is the most legit funded program in the world. They give you a demo. They test your skill. If you can hit the target on the demo while following their rules, they fund you between 50K up to 150K with a 90% split. Top Step is the gold standard. They're kind of who everybody else copies off of in the funded account space, in my opinion. Again, what they do is they give you a demo and they test your skill in day trading. And if you can hit the target while following their rules on the demo, they fund you, between 50K to 150K with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first 10K in profit. Really useful because, again, it allows you to trade with some pressure, but not the full pressure of risking thousands of dollars in the market like most people would, and most new day traders lose, and so it's a lot cheaper to go this route. Learn to day trade. If you're good enough to pass it, you can get funded. If you're not good enough, you're probably going to lose less than you would have putting the money up yourself, and so in that regard, it's incredibly useful. Again, and they're the most legit one in the world. And again, they pay out millions, fund thousands of traders a year. And this is the futures market. So you can day trade the NASDAQ in what's called the NQ. You can day trade currencies, gold, silver. You can day trade the SPY in what's called the E-mini. Basically the S&P 500 in futures with no PDT restrictions. And again, these funded account programs are allowed in futures. So if you want to check them out, again, they are a sponsor of mine. I'm definitely biased in their favor because they pay me money, but it's useful. You can check it out here. Can you describe a little bit about their rules? Yeah, sure. So their rules. Hello? Oh man, I'm talking to myself here. Okay, so I don't know when I got cut off. So yeah, the rules. The rules are like they give you a 50K demo for the base one. You can't lose over 2K. You got to make 3K in profit without losing over 2K. So it's a 2 to 3 ratio, very reasonable ratio. They also have a rule about a max loss. So if you lose over $1,000 on any particular day, they close you down for the rest of that day. It doesn't actually eliminate you from the challenge, but it closes you down for the rest of the day. And there's certain symbols that you can't trade. And it's a day trading challenge, so you can only day trade it in. There's some other ones. If you want more, just check out the site. Yeah, it's futures, purely futures. Stating the obvious, before there were cars, there were horses. Yeah, before there was TV, there was radio. Before there was phones, there was wires. Before there was wires, there were mail carriers. You know, I could do that over and over again. But no. Yeah, thanks, Finch. Top Step's the best fun. Great show. Hey, thank you so much, man. All right, so far we're up a little bit in our funded account. Watching the Russell. I don't really want to trade the Russell. Remember, we did roll over in futures here, guys. We did roll over in futures. Yeah, it's just been slow for economic data. You know, usually like we're an economic data channel, you know, so usually we're covering economic stuff. There honestly hasn't been any economic data dropping over the last couple of weeks. What happened? Like what really happened for my channel is this. Because you might look and be like, oh, well, we're getting less views. And we have for the last like week or two. But it doesn't actually mean anything because you got to understand what my channel is actually about, right? So my channel is about economic data. What they did during the last release was that they did all of the major economic data on one specific week, which was not last week, but the week before. So not last week, but the week before, they did unemployment, GDP, non-farm payrolls, and PCE all in 1 week, which is very abnormal. It's not usually what they do. Usually they separate it from week to week, and so we always have something to cover on any individual day. For whatever reason, 2 weeks ago, they put it all on the same day. And so what that meant is that it's a little bit quiet for the last few weeks because we haven't had any economic data to cover. And that changes tomorrow because, again, tomorrow we've got CPI. Thursday we have PPI. Friday we have quad witching day. Next week we got economic data and the rate hike decision. And so that changes moving forward. We're going to have a lot of activity after today. But again, the last couple weeks have been slow because the economic data has been light. We just haven't had much going on. Again, look at the NASDAQ start to rip up a little bit. So here's the NASDAQ. You can see my Express funded account here that we've been trading on this morning. Here's the NASDAQ start to rip up a little bit, starting to head back up some. Again, we'll watch Apple. You can see Apple breaking over that 180 level. And so we're starting to head up, starting to move up a little bit. All right, nice, John. Do you think J Powell gets another term? I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Yeah, nice, man. Yeah, I've gotten funded in a couple different accounts. Dude, I'm spilling coffee this morning all over myself. Tesla stock current price targets $400 by Morgan Stanley. Oh, sorry, bumping my mic. $350 by Wedbush, $305 by RBC, $300 by Deutsche, $278 by Citigroup, $275 by Goldman Sachs, $272 by Tesla's current price, $265 by Wells Fargo, $260 by Barclays, $120 by JP Morgan, and GLG Research has it at $24. And so again, if you want to know which companies and banks specifically are bullish on Tesla versus bearish, Morgan Stanley's definitely bullish. Wedbush is bullish. RBC is bullish. Deutsche is bullish. Citigroup is bullish. Goldman is bullish. Wells Fargo is bearish. Barclays is bearish. JP Morgan is very bearish. And GLJ is incredibly bearish. The most bearish. So Elon and Bill still fighting. All right, so again, FTX asset report was just released. They will likely get approval to liquidate their $3.4 billion worth of crypto. They have $1.16 billion in Solana, $560 million in Bitcoin, $192 million in ETH, $137 million in APT, XRP $119 million, BIT $49 million, and STG $46 million. So again, you can kind of see their graph here showing what they're holding for FTX, which is interesting. Again, you can kind of see that here. We'll see if it holds. I wonder if that's not only because of the chips and AI, but because of auto strikes incoming. Maybe. All right, again, Apple stock has their event today, their Wonderlust event. We were going to stream it, but I think, again, with Apple streaming the event themselves, I just don't know if it's going to be necessarily worth it. Any economic data coming out today? No. It's a slow time, man. Again, abnormal to how it usually is. Most of the time, okay, so the way economic data usually flows is like this, right? And again, we're mostly an economic release channel. But the way it usually flows is like this. Usually, every Thursday we get jobless claims numbers, right? So no matter what's going on in the market, Thursday we're usually going to have, at least 600, 700, 800 people here when jobless claims numbers drop. Outside of that, the ones that drop once a month are CPI, PPI, retail sales. It's CPI, PPI, retail sales. Retail sales might be different, but CPI, PPI, I think retail sales. PCE data, so the personal consumption expenditure, GDP, unemployment, non-farm employment change, and payroll numbers, right? So those different data releases drop. Usually what we have is we have GDP data, usually we have non-farm employment change Wednesday on one specific week, Thursday jobless claims, and then Friday non-farm payrolls and unemployment. Following that, usually we also have GDP and PCE data on the same week, but they're usually different weeks. So usually one week we'll have PCE and GDP data, another week we'll have unemployment, non-farm payrolls, and non-farm employment changes on prelim data. And then usually another week we'll have CPI and PPI, and then usually another week can sometimes be slow. We'll have like CB, manufacturing and services, PMI, stuff like that, right? Like that's usually how it goes. And usually we're usually pretty active because we can cover each individual one every week, right? So every week we got something coming out. Again, a couple weeks ago, they did it a little bit differently, and I'm just hoping they don't change the standards to do that, where they dropped all of that on. They dropped PCE, GDP, unemployment, non-farm payrolls, non-farm employment change data all same week, which I'm hoping they don't do that again, because it really does help separate different releases for the channel. But that's mostly the economic data that we cover here, and all of that stuff will have some influence on the market. We don't know how much it will, but it'll have some influence usually. Yeah, Bitcoin is up a lot, man. I had a couple people reach out to me regarding Bitcoin yesterday, but Bitcoin's up. If you look at Bitcoin futures here, all right, there's Bitcoin futures at about 26.3K. Yeah, there's lots of them, Matthias. Yeah, nothing today. I don't think there's anything. I can look, but a lot of time I'll look at like Market Watch, but I just don't see anything today right now. NFIB optimism. Again, tomorrow we have CPI. Thursday, jobless claims, PPI, retail sales. Friday, we got import prices, Empire State Manufacturing Index, industrial production and capacity utilization, and then consumer sentiment prelim data. Next week, we got housing starts, building permits, the FOMC rate hike decision, jobless claims, and the Philly Fed Index, S&P Flash Services PMI, and manufacturing PMI. And so next week is busy too. And then I think the week afterwards, which is going to be, let me look this up. So yeah, this week's busy, next week's busy, and then the week after that is going to be the week of September 25th. CB consumer confidence, new home sales, core durable good orders, GDP data, and then PCE data. Okay, good. All right, good. So yeah, after good. All right, so yeah, they're bringing it back to like it was. So like next week we got like the rate hike decision and all that stuff. The week after that, September 25th, then it's back to like it normally is, right? Where we have CB consumer confidence and new home sales on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got core durable good orders. Thursday, we've got GDP data and pending home sales. Friday, we have Friday we have PCE data, which is really like if you don't know what PCE is, right? PCE is the Fed's preferred inflationary gauge. So PCE is what like Jerome Powell and the rest of the Fed members, it's what they look at to determine how bad inflation is. It stands for the personal consumption expenditure. They are expecting that to show up. Again, that drops in 2 weeks from now. They don't have expectations yet. We got to wait to get a little bit closer here. Last time it came in at 0.2%. Core one's the big one too. Market is butt right now. I got bills to pay. When is this stuff going to move? Well, there's a very, very famous quote, and it goes something like, money is not made in trading. Money is made in waiting. And so just wait. OPEC monthly report came out. Crude is shooting up. Yeah, here's Exxon. We are in Exxon right now. We've been holding this. We got 10 shares left. We've kind of taken some profit off, but we've been sitting on this for a minute. It's up to 115s now. It's up a little bit in pre-market, but not a huge amount. See if we can find any more data on that OPEC report. Affirm execs expect higher funding costs to hit margins, according to a Barclays conference. Yeah, so again, Rogan saying why plant meat is not the future. And again, this is something that you've heard me say for years. He said, quote, it's really bad for you, not only because it's monocrop agriculture, which is terrible for land, but it's also terrible for living creatures. It also tastes lousy. Yeah, the problem, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The problem with companies like Beyond Meat and Impossible, again, is that vegans are very health conscious. Like they don't want to eat like lab grown fake meat, regardless of how much it tastes like real meat. They don't want to eat lab-grown fake meat. I think the problem with BYND and Impossible and companies like that is that they overestimated their interest. Vegans are incredibly health conscious. They're all about naturality, if that's even a word. But they're all about natural stuff. Like they do not want anything grown in a freaking lab, bro. And Impossible coming out doing deals with fast food chains, like vegans eat at fast food chains. Like, come on now. I've had Impossible tacos. They're pretty good. I actually liked them. Disney World had them. I went to Disney World a few years ago. They had Impossible tacos, and they were good. Like, I'm not hating on them. I thought they tasted good. The problem, though, is, again, they just don't have enough interest. They don't have enough people willing to buy it continuously and like consistently to make it worthwhile as a business, in my opinion. It's one of the reasons you've seen Beyond Meat just have a terrible 5-year period. Like, look, this is a weekly chart. This thing was once almost $250. It's now down to 10. been basically down and dropping since 2021 in March. So this is like a 2-year graph of Beyond Meat. And again, it should have been obvious, I think, because I've been saying the same thing for years. If you know vegans, you know, like they're not about to eat this stuff, you know, and that should have been a relatively predictable thing. Like people should have been able to predict it, but for whatever reason, I think hype gets people interested, and so they end up buying this stuff. But yeah, in my opinion, it was predictable, but. Much more expensive, V. Much more expensive. Also, guys, y'all do me a favor. Bump that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. All right, guys. So pre-market is basically done. Sorry, I'm kind of exiting out of some stuff, doing some All right, guys. So CPI tomorrow. Again, here's the NASDAQ. We're going to put this up and day trade it. Here's the NASDAQ starting to break down towards lows. Part of me wants to short this. You have a promo code for what? No, you just use my link, man. Again, here's the link if you want to check it out. I think it's in the description. You can also see the link right here. Hey, what's up, Tiny? Yeah, but I don't think the real thing is ever going to be more expensive than that lab-grown meat. You know? Yeah, it's a Miller time. Again, we're watching Exxon. We're in Exxon. We're actually slightly green on the day today, mostly from Disney again. Disney's starting to push back up in pre. Disney all the way back up to 83.40s, right around the highs of yesterday. Again, we took some profit on Disney yesterday when it got up to like 84s. Short on the NASDAQ. Yeah, Disney and Charter finished their deal, which they were struggling with, so it's back up some. The short on the NASDAQ was when it failed to VWAP a second time. Yeah, let me put the VWAP up in futures here. We got the VWAP up. I like putting a daily VWAP, like a one-day VWAP up here. I don't mind the bands either, but I'd rather not the bands not be there in all honesty, like the upper and lower bands. So I also like the VWAP to be purple just because I'm an LSU fan, even though LSU got beat. I don't want the forward extensions. I guess we'll leave this up. What's your take on Coca-Cola? I think Coca-Cola is a good dividend-paying company that's been around a long time, and that's pretty stable. I don't mind the little dip now, though. I might buy a little bit, actually, of Coca-Cola right now as an investment. Good day yesterday. Go and buy 50 shares. Small position, though. I'm not going to add more than that right now. I'll stay in that. I don't mind it, though. Look, there's NASDAQ still falling back down. Looking weak. I'm going to put NVIDIA and Tesla up here. I think those are the big, heavy ones to watch. There's NVIDIA. Yeah, that's right, Joe. Yeah, nobody reminded me about the LSU loss, man. I think Florida State's good. Don't get me wrong. I think Florida State's great, but disappointing. We put too much faith in the quarterback, to be honest. He chokes under pressure. All right, so we're still testing that bottom range. I'm going to buy a little bit of piece of this here on the NASDAQ, see if we catch a little bounce. We already have a little bit of profit on our funded account this morning. Trying to build up a cushion that we can play into this morning.
This is our funded account, our express funded account on Top Step right here. We're already green on the day on this. Looking to make a little bit more. Flat, slightly green maybe. There we go. 20. I just made another 40, up about 90 or so on the day. Not too shabby, we'll take it. Yeah, for sure, Miller. Hit the live button next to the play button, Michael. You're probably a little bit delayed on stream, bro. What do you use for the quickest info? I use a bunch of different places. I don't like giving up my sources there. Yeah, Wall Street Bets. I mean, the problem with them, man, is like they've just been so wrong, like about everything. And I think after a certain point, you got to stop and take a step back and say, hey, again, I'll say this again. And it's important for traders that might be involved with that movement to understand. Successful companies don't need to make you feel all warm and fuzzy and part of a community. You know, they just don't. Apple doesn't need to make you feel all warm and fuzzy to stay in Apple. You know, Microsoft doesn't need to make you feel all warm and fuzzy and part of a community to stay in Microsoft, right? And so the problem with AMC and GameStop and other companies like it is that traders are so wrapped up in being a part of that community that they lose sight of what it really is about, which is making money in stocks, right? They come with all these different moral issues and all these different things. But again, if your community is trying to make you feel all warm and fuzzy about staying in it, if they're shaming anybody that sells, if they are emotionally pressuring you in different directions, it's probably because they're trying to talk you into sitting on a wildly depreciating asset that's dropped 75+% short term. And so be smart, understand what that is. The community doesn't matter. You know, again, they're going to try to make you feel all cool and they're going to have all this big emotional pressure. In the end, just do what you got to do to protect yourself. You don't need to worry about that so much. And my biggest issue with it is I get it. I've said this before too. It's kind of like flat Earth, where it's like people in flat Earth, even if they found out that the world was a sphere, they would probably still pretend it wasn't so that they could keep that economy, that community going that they feel all warm and fuzzy being a part of, right? And that blinds people to a certain extent. And I think it's happening with AMC. It's happening with flat Earth. It's happening with all these different communities that sprout up. You know, they're making you feel all warm and fuzzy, you know, like your life has meaning, you know. And again, that can be a powerful influencing thing. But be smart, guys. All right, so the NASDAQ did bounce at the bottom. This is one of the reasons, like, at first I was thinking about getting rid of these lower bands, or the upper and lower bands on the View app, but I decided to keep them here just because they can be powerful. Look at that bottom band work. And this is a platform on Top Step called Quant Tower. Okay, but fundamentally, it's definitely smart to buy at the bottom, right? Question mark. Depends on what kind of stock you're buying. If you're buying a blue chip healthy company that has a long-term uptrend, sure. If you're buying a really speculative company that is down huge amounts, no. Different, you know. So it depends on what you're buying. You know, penny stocks, mid caps, if you buy them around the bottom, you're probably going to lose more. If you buy a large blue chip company with, you know, a lot of long-term success, When it dips, then you're going to have decent, like at a yearly lows, maybe, even though it's been pushing up for the last 10, that might be a different story. But it depends on the individual stock. Thoughts on Apple event always being in seasonally weak September? Maybe they're buying it up. Maybe they're looking for a reason to prop the stock up on a historically weak month. I'm not sure. Yeah, the only thing you can really do that, like S&P 500, perfectly reasonable to buy it around lows and to hold and do all that stuff, right? If you are buying a penny stock or a mid-cap stock that's really speculative, that's not the one you want to buy at lows. It just depends on what it is. NVIDIA down at 448. Speaking of stocks at lows, NVIDIA cracked the lows at pre-market. Still trying. Man, these projector screens are getting really solid. VFS, man. Whew, dude, I wish I would have bought those put options, man. I was talking about it, and I told you guys what this was. So if you look at VFS here, it sucks because like options were so expensive. But when VFS was at $90, I told people this thing was almost certainly going to be way lower in the next couple weeks, and I was absolutely right. This thing, I mean, to be fair, it was incredibly easy to predict. Like everybody kind of knew this wasn't going to hold, except for new traders that got stuck or whatever. But again, when it was at the 90s, everybody knew this thing wasn't going to hold, including me. I talked about this many times. The problem is that buying one bundle of put options was like $5K. And if you're wrong, you're going to lose that. And so risking $5K, even though I would have made money, even though the Greeks weren't really super favorable, you still would have made thousands and thousands of dollars if you had those put options in VFS. It's basically went from 1160s at lows all the way to $93, back down to 1650s or so in about a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 week period, about a month and a quarter week period. So yeah, interesting. What do you guys think VFS is going to do? I know it's really speculative, but again, I'm not touching it most likely. It's just too much risk. Bro, I don't know why they advertise these IQ tests to me. Like, bro, no 3-minute quiz is going to tell me my IQ. Not really. I see people share this on social media, and I don't know why they're marketing into me, but I see people sharing this on social media like, yeah, I took this 3-minute quiz and I got 160 IQ. If anything, it might be the opposite if you actually think that's your real IQ. Might tell you the opposite. NASDAQ's still at the bottom range, starting to bounce. And again, I'm not even claiming to be like a super smart guy or anything like that. I just know IQ tests are incredibly difficult. Like if you've ever taken one, like pattern recognition, like all these really obscure patterns that you have to kind of like, they're just really difficult. You're definitely not going to figure it out in 3 minutes. Yeah, so let's see if VFS holds at 16. $75, probably, Chad. 80 might be an overestimate. I don't know. Maybe like 75, maybe 70. Like I'm on that Forrest Gump level, My brain goes out the window for 15 minutes after. Yeah. I don't think DSS is going to go bankrupt, but I think they'll cut losses in America and go back. Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. Again, I just think it's super, super volatile. And there's just a lot of risk. And so I usually just stay away from it. Big risk, big reward. I'm not trying to risk my account. All right, so the NASDAQ broke underneath the bottom lows of the morning for the NQ. Remember, we did roll over a certain extent. I think the expiry date for futures is Friday. So Friday, you got to roll over to the Z format for futures. The latest one is Z. So it's the NASDAQ I have here is NQZ3. It used to be NQU3. Now it's NQZ3. And rollovers happen every quarter. So if you don't understand futures, rollovers happen every quarter. They're quarterly. Yeah, I'm pretty good at recognizing patterns as well. I'm a good test taker. Like, I've always been a really good test taker. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything. Like, that's just been one of the strengths that I've had when I was young. Is I was decent at taking tests. You know. The problem is I never studied, and so my potential was squandered a little bit, I think. But when I took the ACT, for instance, right? I think I was junior or senior year. I can't remember when I took it. But I had these other friends that were with me. I had just got my first house. I was like renting my first property. I was like 17 or 18, and I was renting this house with my friends when I moved out of my parents' house. And I forgot that I had to take the ACT, so I kind of partied all night and got like, I'm not going to go into detail, but I kind of partied like all night leading up to taking the ACT the next morning. And I remember I got no sleep. I stayed up the entire night. The night I took my ACT, tired, like cranky. And not in necessarily like a good mental state either, Again, I'm not going to go into detail. It was a fun night. But I was stupid and partied the whole night, didn't get any sleep. My dad called me at 6 a.m. that morning and said, "Hey, bro, you got to come take your ACT." And so first I tried to get out of it, but he was like pissed. Like he was mad because I told him, I was like, "Hey, man, I haven't been asleep." And so anyways, I go take my ACT and my dad brings me. And I didn't have a math calculator either. And I think I got a 24 on the ACT. Which is not great, but it's above average, on the ACT. And then I had a couple friends that were taking it the same day, and they took it and they got like an 18 or a 17 on it, and they went to bed at the right time and like did everything right. And so there was some kind of not weirdness from them. They were kind of mad at me because I did better than them with no sleep. But again, I'm not trying to claim to be super smart. I understand that. I think I'm just a good test taker. But yeah, I was dumb, man. Don't be like me. My dad still reminds me of that, though. I wonder what I would have made on it if I didn't do all that stuff. If I would have had a calculator and actually not partied the night before. Shiba Inu. Yeah, I remember when Shiba Inu ran. It was kind of again, that was when the crypto bull run happened, man. That was when a lot of stuff started running. We had like Cardano, we had ADA, we had Shiba, we had Doge, we had Bitcoin hitting 60,000 plus. We had AMC and GameStop was all around the same time. Like that was all around the same time. Yeah, Shiba Inu, man. Again, the problem with people pushing it is like they gave all these crazy unrealistic profit targets for Shiba as well. I never really got involved with Shiba Inu. I remember when it happened though, and I remember all the different pushes for it. What's Shiba Inu at now? SHIB price. Yeah, a lot of people saying it's gonna hit 1 cent. The highest it ever got was 0.0004223. Or no. Yeah, but it never even got close to 1 cent. I remember the big argument at the time was everybody was like, "Hey, if this can get to 1 cent, we'll make X amount." But again, if it was such a difficult thing for it to hit those prices that it was just hype. Yeah, that's what I think it was, Jessica. It would beat the market cap of like the whole world. I think is what I remember the argument being there for it. Again, it's just people that don't know, that just hope. It's actually good if you have a few days break before taking tests instead of stressed out yourself the night right before. Well, we definitely weren't stressed the night before, but I was stressed taking that test. I can't even remember. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to go into too much detail so I don't sound, but yeah, I was young. I was a teenager, man. I was 17, 18. Definitely made some mistakes in my life back then for sure, but you get old, you learn, Palantir dropping. Yeah, Palantir up on mostly AI hype though. So the question is, what does AI do? I think you have to look at AI as just a sector overall and watch. A lot of these will move together, like Palantir, AMD, NVIDIA, Microsoft to a certain extent. Like a lot of these are going to move very similar to each other. If you look at like Palantir and you look up AMD, they're going to move a lot very similar to each other. Same thing with like Microsoft. If you look at what Microsoft did yesterday, what AMD did yesterday, and then, or actually AMD, let me clarify that. So AMD is more following NVIDIA. Palantir actually had a good day yesterday, which I guess my thesis there was wrong, because Palantir pushed up a lot yesterday relative to AMD, which dropped a lot because of NVIDIA's dips at the open. So NVIDIA and AMD are basically the same. MU is basically on that train too, following the similar sentiment. Hey, John, do I have to switch to the Z contract on Top Step, or can I stay with the other one if it's you don't have to switch. I'm not sure. I would reach out to them, but to understand the difference, GoFundMe. To understand the difference, if you don't switch over to the Z, the previous one's going to be less liquid. Like it's going to be the same thing, but the U contract is going to be much less liquid than the Z contract right now. So the liquidity is going to be bad. If you stay with the U. So like you could stay with it. Friday's the expiry date though, so that sheesh, man, you're struggling over there, huh? You wanna come on stream? But yeah, so point is the U contract is gonna expire Friday. So you're not going to be able to use it, and leading up to it, it's just going to be overall weaker and less liquid than the Z contract. So I would switch personally. All right, so Carol's here.
Morning.
Here, if you want to see this, you can just look there. What's up, Shepard? Big losses on AI stocks, still good to keep. I don't know, Krishna. I'm really not sure what AI is going to do. I think long-term AI will be fine, but short-term you might get some volatility just because of like big, high fluctuations and stuff like that.
Morning. Hope y'all are doing well.
Yeah. All right, guys. What do you think about the new ARM IPO? I'm not sure when it's going to come out. They said it was going to come out last week on Friday, and then it just never debuted, so it just never came out. Space, I've been saying the same thing about SPCE as well. Space, the problem with space is the entire space industry is expensive. And if I'm going to bet on a space stock, it's not going to be won by the CEO of Virgin Mobile. You know, no offense to Richard Branson or whatever his name is. I just don't trust him as CEO, especially behind a space company. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, space is incredibly expensive as an industry. Profits are hard to take in. Margins are not generally great. And, you know, again, space used to be really expensive. And I was saying this back when it was expensive too. It was at $50, $60, $70 a share. It just seems vulnerable. And since then, it's dropped from all the way up there to $60 down to $2, which is not surprising because, again, space is expensive, especially when you got, you know, it's just not, it's not a company I felt comfortable investing in.
All right, y'all.
All right, baby.
Hope everyone has a good day today. Good luck in the market.
All right.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So,
Yeah. All right, baby.
all right.
All right. Love you.
Love you. I'll see you in a little bit. I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right. Love you. Yeah, Richard. Yeah, again, he's just not something that I'm really trying to get in with, man. The risk is too much. There's just too much risk there. Yeah, market's slow. We're going to get ready to day trade. We got 6 minutes at the open. We're going to be day trading futures. NASDAQ's been mostly breaking down, although we do have a little bit of a trend here. There's the trend. It's a pretty tight range. We might be able to open this up a little bit. Starting to break back over that level, though. So we drew this trend and we immediately broke it. So we'll see Apple starting to bounce a little bit. Somehow we're green today. Again, mostly from Disney. You got to hit the bell next to the subscribe button, FPL. Again, we don't really have any economic data, so like it's been a little bit slower for my channel the last couple weeks. Again, that should start heating back up tomorrow because the next 3 weeks are really busy, and then earnings season starts again in October. So, yeah, I mean, again, every quarter we get like a slow couple week period, and that's been the last few weeks here. We haven't really had any economic data. There's not really any stuff going out. And so, yeah, my morning streams are just been slower, but again, that should heat back up. That should heat back up starting tomorrow. I don't know what the entry is. I don't know what you should do. NASDAQ back over that previous low level, but look at Apple dump down. So again, Apple's been in a downtrend this morning. It started to test that previous closing price, the level at which it goes from red to green, green to red. Again, I'm in Apple. I've been in Apple. I'm not going to sell just because we have this event, and my plan is to just kind of add to some of my long trades on the September slump, and then hopefully write it back in the following few months afterwards. Is what the plan is. Yeah, so it's at 12 Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And again, we are day trading on Top Step today, a funded account program in futures. So if you want to day trade with us, Top Step's the most legit funded program in the world. They pay out millions, fund thousands of traders every year. Great way to learn how to day trade with less risk. They give you a demo. They test your skill in futures. And in futures, you can day trade the NASDAQ, which is kind of what you see right here, which is basically the Q. You can day trade the E-mini, basically the SPY. You can day trade currencies, gold, silver, no PDT rule. Top Step's the most legit funded program in the world. It's only $49. They give you a demo, test your skill. If you can pass it while following their rules, they fund you between $50,000 all the way up to $150K with a 90% split. Check them out. Great way to learn trading. Again, they are a sponsor of mine. I'm definitely biased in their favor because they pay me money. But if you want to check them out, there's the link. Always try to be transparent about it. I don't know about Apple calls. I'm not taking anything big ahead of this. I think that's risky. Walgreens has been really weak. Starting to bounce back a little bit, though. Apple bounced right at that previous closing price. McDonald's appears to be phasing out self-serve soft drinks. Good or bad move? Probably better for revenue so people don't have to keep. So what are they going to do? Not offer free refills anymore? All right, so there's the opening bell, guys. There's the open. NASDAQ testing lows right at the opening bell. Watch Apple here on the right side. We can also watch NVIDIA, which is going to have a heavy influence, as well as Tesla. Google's starting to pop up a little bit. Google's been really strong the last few weeks. Tesla up to 271s. Let's see if it holds its gains. NASDAQ trying to hit the bottom level here. Gonna let things play out first. Yeah, there's a link to Top Step in my description. Just look in the description. Look, if you want me to pin it to the top of the page, I will. If that helps. There you go. It's pinned at the top of the chat now if you want to check it out. NASDAQ started to break these lows, getting close. Look at Tesla fly up, though, man. And Tesla's got to be helping the market here. Apple back up, too. NVIDIA still looking really weak, so that dynamic of NVIDIA might be interesting to watch. All right, we're short in our Express funded account here. Kind of risky trade, a little bit early. We might add one more to this if we can. There we go. There's 2 contracts here, short. Luckily, we already got a cushion on the day. Why does it say my P&L is that high, dude? There we go. Took half off there. Lock that in. All right, cool. We are now up 150 on the day. I don't know why I said my P&L was like that. Again, we're on our Express funded account, up about 150 or so far. Tesla looking strong. You see on the right side of the screen, over 272s. We got a nice little cushion that we can swing for more now. Big green action. Look at Apple rip up. Apple over 180s right now. Apple over 180s. Approaching the volume weighted average price in the E-mini or the NASDAQ. Part of me wants to buy this, but should have bought it. There's the rip. Tesla looking like a symmetrical triangle or something, but all right, so we're in one contract of Apple. Flat right now. Slightly green now, but all right, just made another 120. We are now up about 250 or so in futures. This is our express funded account, so a nice little $250 day. You can see the P&L right there. Call it the little 1 minute pullback. We're approaching the VWAP. Other thing to consider here is Tesla starting to reverse all the way back down. Tesla just broke lows of the market open. So Tesla's starting to crack, looks weak. GameStop is popping all the way up to $18 here. NVIDIA looking strong too. NVIDIA just tapped 450s. The question is whether NVIDIA breaks here or not. I really don't know. We get a little dip on the NASDAQ, kind of a choppy day. Again, look at Tesla break lows. Watch NVIDIA, though, because NVIDIA is what could save this movement here. Apple's right around the middle range. NVIDIA up to 449 is almost 450. Starting to get a pop on the NASDAQ, bouncing back up. Again, Apple's starting to creep up a little bit. Tesla at 269s, looking weak. NVIDIA ripping all the way back up, almost green on the day. So if we pull up NVIDIA here, Apple's flat. NVIDIA's starting to really rip up to 452s for NVIDIA, and that's kind of dragging the rest of the market up. Look at NVIDIA rip. This is what's dragging the market back up. Again, we're going to throw it in sub-only mode as well if we haven't already, which we haven't. So again, if you haven't already, announce yourself. Show us you were subscribed. Not bad on our express funded account. So again, up about 260 on the day. 250, I'm sorry, 250. No losses on it yet this morning. Nvidia is what's dragging the market up. Apple still looks pretty strong. Nvidia started to dip down to 251s. Down to 251s. All right, guys. Testing the top of that range, Nvidia started to try to break a. We're right at the previous close. You can see the light blue line right here. It's right at the previous close. And so what Nvidia does right here is going to have a big influence over what the rest of the market does as well. Huge rip on the NASDAQ, and you can see Nvidia starting to rise. Apple's not really the strongest stock right now. We could also look at Tesla to see if Tesla's starting to come back, which it is. Again, if you look at the bottom right, here's Tesla. Tesla fighting all the way back up over the volume weighted average price. The NASDAQ is now over the VWAP 2. Big level here. We'll see if it actually holds. All right, so we are going to buy this dip here. See if we get a little pop. There's the pop. Took that off too. There we go. A little bit of gains. We did switch to our Combine account now since we already made about $300 on a regular one. And so our goal is to build up a cushion now. We got a little bit of a cushion here. If we get a little pop, we'll take some off. Half off there. Took the rest of that off. And so again, you can kind of see on this other account here, on this big increase, we are up now 296 or so, 296. Slow increases. Tesla rising fast. Rip it up big. Meta dumping down. Yeah. Look at Tesla start to rise here. Part of me wants to buy this again. Again, we got a really nice cushion on this specific account. Tesla's still ripping up, though. Question is, does Tesla hold this? All right, we're going to take 2 contracts here. Tesla just broke over the VWAP. NVIDIA starting to head up, too. Well, punished. All right, so we're going to have to cut that. Now we're down on the day on this Combine account. Not a crazy big loss, but definitely not what we wanted. Luckily, we switched from our actual funded account, so this is just the Combine account now. If we get a bounce again, it depends on what Tesla does here. Tesla is like the big one that you want to watch. Tesla and NVIDIA. Got a little pop. Big increase here. We'll see if we get the second push here. Look at Tesla on the rise, which has kind of been a crazy day for it. NVIDIA could drag everything back up. Let's see if Tesla holds that previous closing price right here. We're going to wait, though. And again, if you want to participate with me on Top Step, Top Step's a funded account program for futures. You can day trade short in futures, no PDT rule. You can day trade the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, gold, silver, other currencies with no PDT restriction. And Top Step is a funded program in futures where they give you a demo and they test your skill. If you can hit the targets while following their rules, they fund you between 50K up to 150K with a 90% split. I've been funded on multiple accounts over the last couple months. And again, it definitely is a better option for new traders learning, in my opinion. But again, it's subjective. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased for sure in their favor. But if you want to check them out, there's the link. Another one of my sponsors is a company called Chart Prime. It's a trading view indicator service. So you can use it in stocks, crypto, Forex, futures. Again, these can be powerful. So like, let's put this up, right? So here's Chart Prime. Let me show you guys this. So here's Chart Prime right here. If I go to indicators right here and I add Chart Prime, I like the Market Oracle Pro, the regular Market Oracle, and chart patterns. Right, having these different patterns can work really effectively. And like, look at this. So you can see how accurate these can be, right? So here's a 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ. Look at how much they work versus don't work. And I can't fake this, right? So I can't fake what I'm showing you. But look, strong buy signal here, bounce. Strong sell signal here, nice drops. Reversal up signal here, nice bounce. This buy signal was wrong. Strong sell signal here, nice drops. Buy signal and reversal signal, nice bounces. And so again, maybe one out of the rest of these didn't work. The rest of these worked out of like only one out of maybe 4 or 5 didn't work there. And so again, you can kind of see how powerful that is and useful if you can do it right. let me show you an hourly chart here too. So let's put up an hourly chart. So this is a 5-minute chart. You can also use it on longer term time frames as well. And again, they're a sponsor of mine, so I can't guarantee you're going to make money. Nobody can. But again, you can kind of see how genuinely useful they work. Again, I can't guarantee you're always going to make money with them. Nobody can. But look, here's an hourly time frame, right? And so again, hourly time frame, sell signal here for days, you get drops. Buy signal here for days, you get bounces. Strong up signal here, you get like 3 or 4 hours of bounces. Possible reversal up signal here. Look at this. A long time of bounces there as well. You keep going back here too. Strong buy signal here. This one was wrong. They're not always going to be right. Strong sell signal here, or no. Buy signal here, bounce. Buy signal here, bounce. This one could have been wrong. But again, if you go back and you back test this, in my opinion, they're profitable for sure. But of course, I can't guarantee anything. Nobody can. It's $40 a month. Great way to help support the channel. And I'll put this link up. Yeah, I'm just glad I switched from my Express account to my other account before I took that loss. But again, we're green on our Express account. You can see, if you don't believe me, I switched. Look. Here's my Express funded account today. And so we switched right in time. No losses. It's a good day. I'm going to go ahead and close it down. I'll see you guys a little bit later. We'll see if Tesla and NVIDIA can hold. NVIDIA's been on a comeback, and it doesn't mean it's going to continue. You know, we'll see what happens. Nobody really knows here. Time will tell. Let me know if you guys think NVIDIA will bounce back. Again, the Apple conference is at noon today Central, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're not going to stream it. We originally were planning on streaming it, but again, the problem is that Apple's already streaming it, and so it might not be worth it. CPI tomorrow is an absolutely huge event in markets, guys. We will be streaming the entire CPI release, and we'll have thousands of people here because we cover it quick. And so stick around, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later.